I think Prefu is going to give an indication of what Treasury thinks will happen on current government policy. I think the reason that Grant Robertson and Peter Hughes have been calling these hitherto secret meetings to try and save money is so they can persuade the Treasury that they will be able to save money on current policy, and therefore Prefu won't look so bad. But what we're hearing is that it may be as much as a $30 billion hole. And if you look at the May tax take being down $2.3 billion on what was forecast only months earlier, then it's quite understandable or believable that the hole is that big.
As soon as I became finance spokesperson, within weeks of that, I wrote to Grant Robertson and I said, hey, what's happened to this independent costing office? We'd like to see it up and running. You've got our support. Let's make it happen. And I've just been stonewalled ever since. Grant Robertson wanted to do it when he was in opposition, and he saw that this had become a political game-playing issue. He and James Shaw had agreed it was the right thing to do. But then when I said to him last year, yeah, let's get up and running and make it happen, he thought, no, I'd prefer to be able to play some silly games. I'm not going to prioritise getting this up and running. So it's a real shame, and I've committed that if we are elected, we will get it up and running because it's the right thing to do.
Things have been tough for people. This is a country that is hard to afford, is lawless and is divided. And even people who were giving them a chance are starting to see it's the incompetence of this government that is causing their problems, and that some real change is going to be needed. The problem is that the circumstances are moving so rapidly. People have so much uncertainty about what the government's going to do next. You see less investment, you see people holding back on purchases, and as a result, tax take is reduced. Therefore, the government has this hole, and the Treasury is bound to forecast based on those conditions that they're seeing.
I think that there is real division between Grant and Chris Hipkins, obviously with David Parker, the former tax minister. They are in disarray. This is what happens when you've got a government that made huge promises, has failed to deliver, has got books that are in pretty bad shape, and refuses to reduce the income tax that New Zealanders pay, because that would be the simplest solution here, to just let New Zealanders keep more of their own money by adjusting tax brackets. We will be doing that, and we will be announcing that shortly, well in advance of the election, so that New Zealanders have time to study every detail of our policy and be confident about it.
The community services card is targeted at people who have need due to their financial situations, regardless of race. And then it was retargeted as a Prezi card. You can spend it on whatever you like, so long as you are a Maori expectant mother. So you are literally taking from poor people, regardless of race, and giving it to wealthy people so long as they are Maori. In some instances, it is everything wrong with this government, and it's another poor use of government funding. $121 billion of borrowing by Grant Robertson later. He's run out of other people's money. We in a future government are going to have to be very hard-nosed about cutting waste and getting value from the public service so that we can balance the books and actually give taxpayers a bit of relief. The only good news is that these guys have been so profligate that it's actually not that difficult to see where you could cut billion after billion in government waste.
National saying we're committed to a pipeline of more investment in transport infrastructure. Yes, we're going to use some private finance to do that. Yes, we're going to put more capital in. And yes, we're going to prioritise this over things like reducing speed on motorways. And we're proud to do that.